Have you ever noticed something strange about the way you talk to yourself? You can be patient with other people. You can understand when someone else makes a mistake. You can forgive their awkward moments. But when it comes to yourself, the voice inside your head sounds way different, very different, more critical, more demanding, sometimes even harsh. And the strange part is you might not even realize it. And how hard you are on yourself until you stop and really listen. If that sounds familiar, stay with me. Because the way we talk to ourselves shapes far more of our life than we usually notice. Self-criticism is often, it feels like responsibility. Many people believe that being hard on themselves is necessary. They think it keeps them disciplined, keeps them improving, keeps them from becoming careless. So the critical voice in their mind doesn't feel harmful. It feels responsible, like someone inside them is trying to keep their life on track. But over time, that voice can become louder than necessary. I remember once making a small mistake during a conversation. Nothing dramatic, just saying something, slightly awkward. The other person, they didn't react negatively. The moment passed, but later that day, I noticed something. My mind, it kept replaying that moment over and over and over, analyzing it, questioning it. And eventually, I realized something strange. No one else cared about that moment anymore. Everyone in the world was thinking other thoughts. Nothing to do with me, but my mind was still holding on to it. Your brain is trying to protect you. One reason self-criticism appears is because the brain, it wants to prevent future mistakes. If it replays something embarrassing enough times, maybe it won't repeat it. From a survival perspective, that strategy makes sense. The problem is the brain doesn't know when to stop. So instead of learning the lesson once, it keeps revisiting the moment long after the lesson is clear. Thoughtful people, they tend to analyze themselves more. Something interesting happens when people become more self-aware. They start paying closer attention to the behavior, their decisions, their impact on others. And that awareness can be a good thing, but it also creates more material for self-analysis. And sometimes that analysis turns into criticism without us noticing. I once mentioned to someone, I felt like I was constantly evaluating myself, everything I said, everything I did. And they asked me a simple question. They said, would you talk to a friend the way you talk to yourself? And that question stuck with me, because the honest answer was no, not even close. I wouldn't talk to people I loved or my friends or even my dog that way. Awareness doesn't have to mean judgment. Here's the important distinction. Awareness is useful. Judgment is optional. You can notice your behavior, learn from your experiences, reflect on what you'd like to do differently without attacking yourself in the process. Those are two different mental habits, but many people accidentally combine them. Harsh self-talk drains energy. When the internal voice is constantly critical, it creates a background tension. You feel like you're always being evaluated, always needing to perform slightly better. And that constant pressure slowly drains energy. Not dramatically, just quietly, over time. Many people never notice their inner voice. And here's something surprising. A lot of people move through life without ever questioning how they talk to themselves internally. The voice just runs on automatic pilot. But the moment you start paying attention to it, you realize how intense it has been for years and years and years. And awareness is the first step toward adjusting it. Here's a different way to respond. I once tried a small experiment. The next time I caught myself criticizing something that I did, I just paused. And instead of attacking myself, I simply acknowledged the mistake. Then asked, what would I do differently next time? That small shift changed something. The lesson remained. The tension disappeared. Improvement doesn't require punishment. One of the biggest misunderstandings about growth is the belief that improvement requires self-punishment. It doesn't. You can improve because you're curious, because you're thoughtful, because you want to understand yourself better, not because you're constantly pushing yourself with criticism. The voice in your head has been with you for a very long time, long enough that you may not even notice it anymore. But the way that voice speaks to you matters because it shapes how you experience your life every single day. And if you've been unusually hard on yourself lately, it might not mean you're failing. It might simply mean you've been paying attention without giving yourself the same patience you offer to other people. Sometimes the most powerful shift isn't becoming a better version of yourself. It's learning to treat the version of you that already exists with a little more understanding. I'm Scott Stewart, and you're not crazy.